God is amazing. It's so refreshing when you can just enter into his presence. Sometimes you don't have to work very hard. You don't need 16 hours to get into his presence. Sometimes it's amazing whenever you just, Lord, I need, boom, and he's like, I'm right here. It's so refreshing. But you know what's also refreshing is whenever you continue to pray and travail, and then you just pass out in his presence. For some, that's like 5 minutes in. But to just spend time in God's presence and let him breathe life. It's remarkable. It's not incredible. It is very credible. It's an honor to be here right now. That God has given us breath in our bodies to be able to congregate. You are a blessed people. We are a blessed people. We have amazing leadership. We have an amazing church body that we can congregate with. We are blessed. I want to start off in 2 Kings. Audible. 1 Kings 18 and verse 41. I'm going to read in the Amplified Translation. This is a quick story. I'm just going to use this as a reference point. Elijah, the prophet, he's told the king that there's not going to be any rain until I say. And now we're looking at 3 years and 6 months later. In 1 Kings chapter 18 and verse 41, in the Amplified, it says, Now Elijah said to Ahab, Go up, eat and drink, for there is the sound of the roar of an abundance of rain. For there is the sound of the roar of an abundance of rain. I'll say it one more time. For there is the sound of the roar of an abundance of rain. God bless you. You may be seated. There's a sound coming. There is a sound coming. Do you hear what I hear? I want to see how many people are willing to help out tonight in this message. Let me see if you have hands. Does everybody have a hand? Thank you, volunteers. Who can snap? That's pretty amazing. Who has a lap that you can hit? And here's a new one. Who can rub your hands together? That sounds great. All right, so can I get you guys in this section right here to rub your hands together? Nice. I'll need you in a second. And can I get you guys to snap over here? Everybody in this section, can you just snap for a little bit? Holy snappers. And then can I get you guys to pat your legs? All right, nice. And can I get you guys to stomp your feet? Bless God. All right, so I hear a sound. I hear this sound, and it is of the roar of an abundance of rain. And what do you guys got right here? That sounds like trickles of water. Just sounds like a little bit of water coming. Just a little bit. But then when we start putting this stuff together, can I get you guys over here to go ahead and rub your hands together? it starts adding another layer. Some people would be satisfied with just hearing the mist. I just want to hear not the roar. I don't want to hear the roar. Can I hear the roar over here? That sounds intimidating. That sounds like I got to make sure that all my windows are together. I got to make sure there's no leaks. I got to prepare. But then if we add all of this together, can I get everybody together at the same time? Let's go. That's a lot of water. Great job. There's a roar of the sound of the abundance of rain. In 2 Kings chapter 3 and verse 15 through 18, and then in verse 20 as well, it says, "Then Elisha said, 'Send for someone who can play the harp.' And the harpist began playing, and the Lord gave Elisha, first was Elijah, now is Elisha, the message for Joram. The Lord says that this dry riverbed, for all in this dry riverbed, it's empty, there's nothing here. It says, this dry riverbed will be filled with water. What's the key? What is the warning? What is he trying to get across to us? In this next verse, it says, you won't feel any wind or see any rain. But there will be plenty of water for you and your animals. And it says also that simple thing isn't all the Lord is going to do. In another translation, it says, this is but a simple thing in the sight of the Lord. This dry, barren land that you guys are all camped out in, you're not even going to know it's coming. You're not going to get a warning. I'm giving you the warning right now. You're not going to be able to see it and then respond because you'll already miss it. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to be able to see it. You're not going to be able to hear it. You're not going to be able to feel it. It's going to happen suddenly. And this is a small thing to God. He will also help you defeat Moab's army. And then verse number 20, it says, the next morning, while the sacrifice was being offered, water suddenly started flowing from the direction of Edom, and it flooded the land. There's a lot of water. This dry riverbed that we're all camped out in. If we didn't dig the trenches, if we didn't create the ditches, and if we didn't create all of this, the pockets of holes in the ground where the water can stay, it would have just passed us by. You wouldn't have seen it coming, but you would have seen it pass. And you would not have benefited from it. But I hear that there's a roar. There's a sound that's coming. Sometimes it's your minister. Sometimes it's your brother or your sister. Sometimes the roar or the warning is seconds before it's too late. Do not ignore the warning. I started reading again in the Bible. I don't know, anybody? I started reading again, and I realized how many would love to hang out with chickens all day? Anyone? How many roosters is too many roosters? 1, 2. How many were on the ark? How many roosters? I just found out. Let me just read a scripture for you guys. Genesis chapter 7 and verse number 2. And the scripture that you all have, it says, of every clean animal you shall take with you 7 pair, the male and his female. And of the animals that are not clean, 2 of each, the male and his female. Verse number 3, please. Also, of the birds of the air, 7 pair, the male and the female, to keep the offspring alive on the surface of the earth. Have you ever listened to a cockatoo? Have you ever listened to a mockingbird? You ever listened to a mockingbird? Have you ever listened to peacocks? Have you ever listened? Geese. Swans. They are unclean. I looked it up, the clean and the unclean, the swans, and there's certain ones, then geese, and I'm like, oh, I see. There's a lot of them that are unclean, but I started looking at which ones are clean. Do you realize this ark was not like a city? It was closed quarters. The lion's roar can be heard 5 miles away. They didn't have 5 miles to be away from these lions. The peacock can be heard 5 miles away. The cicada can be heard over 1 mile away. If according to what we're reading here, we see that if the chickens and the roosters are clean animals, you've got 7 roosters and 7 chickens. But I was like, you know what? How would you like to wake up in a room with 7 roosters? And I'm like, no, let me find out. What about a howler monkey? I found out that at 4 a.m., or when the sun starts getting ready to come up, the howler monkey has to let people know that he's there. 4 a.m. So you have the rooster, and now you got these howler monkeys. And then if the cows, there's 7 cows, and there's 7 bulls, you can hear them over 1 mile away. There's a sound that goats give off. And if there's 14 goats in this boat, nah. There's now 14 sheep as well. You have sheep, 14 sheep, 14 goats, all the bulls and the cows and the chickens and the roosters and the cicadas and the peacock and the lion. And I realized, I wonder how Noah and his wife did. Like, we'll take one for the team. We'll take both of the bed bugs. There's only 2. I did think about, what if Shem, Ham, or Japheth's like, you know what? We only need 1 mosquito. All these things are together in this ark. There's a sound inside that ark. There's a smell inside this ark. They had to collect enough food for all of these animals and for themselves. And how many days were they in this ark? Does anybody know? There's more than 5 in this floating farmland. You're looking at over 300. It was 370 days total in this ark. 370. It was 150 before the water started subsiding. So you got 370 days. I was going to say in this flea infested, but there's only 2 fleas. They're not clean. You got animals in there. They don't smell great. I don't know about baths on the... We used to breed dogs, by the way. We used to breed dogs when I lived in the South. There was so many dogs, all the dogs. We had Pekingese, Shih Tzus, Pomeranians, Dachshund, Maltese, Maltipoos. We had Yorkshire Terriers. We had a lot of dogs. Too many dogs. You put too many animals in one place that don't smell great. But they were in this ark. There's a certain smell. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be around these animals. And the feeling to feed all of these cows, to feed all of these dogs and cats, and to feed all of these animals every single day. That's a job and a half. There's a lot that is required to maintain these animals that God has given you the skill set for. He has entrusted you with these animals. All of these swans, geese, ducks, chickens, mice. You got to separate. Sometimes some of these things like to fight. The praying mantis. What did the ark look like? What did it smell like? How did it feel? I don't know that they had stabilizers on this ark to keep it from rocking. And I don't think Dramamine was created yet. My thoughts exactly. Dramamine to help with the motion sickness. So now they're working on this ship in this storm. So the feeling is not great. The smell is not preferred. And there's a sound. Noise-canceling headphones had not been created yet. But there's a sound that they're hearing. And I started thinking, we're confined. How long were we confined to this boat? We're confined with these animals and this prison that we're on, and it don't smell great. I'm starting to smell like all the animals. I am literally one of the animals. How I feel is different, and so my attitude may change. But I hear the storm. Can I hear the thunder over here, the feet over here? Can I hear the snapping and the legs? And can I hear the wind? All of this is going on outside of the boat. And I can feel like I'm in a prison. But then whenever it stops, I realize, hold on, this is the thing that saved me. This ark that I felt confined in, I just need to just let me out. I just want to get out. I can't stand the sound of those swans. There's a certain sound that just, it's like nails on a chalkboard. I can't stand it. It's just a season. It's just a season. These guys hit 4 seasons in one season. Over 1 year on this season. And yet, God said, this is what's saving you. What are you hearing? Are you hearing the thunder and the lightning, and you're hearing the nails on the chalkboard, and you're hearing the cicadas? Chill for a moment. I just need some peace and quiet. I just need a little bit of freedom. Can you just get off my back for a little bit? Can you just give me some breathing room for a little bit? Can you just can you back off? I'm in the ark. I'm already here. I'm safe. What are you hearing? Are you hearing rules and regulations and restrictions? Are you hearing that the God that put me in here, He's allowing me to, I'm scared of water. I can't swim. I'm hearing all of this stuff, and so my nerves are on edge, and all my friends are gone. I'm hearing all of this stuff, and I'm going to get depressed in this ark. I need a counselor. You have one. The one that said, get in the boat. Let me counsel you. Let me save you. Let me lift you higher. The thing that is confining and the thing that we may get so tired of and we may just push against everything. Throw the meat at the lion, but just eat it. I'm going to throw my brother in there. Ham. I'm going to throw Ham in there. Ham was one of the brothers. Oh, that's a good joke. I'm gonna write that down. I'm going to use it again later. It's going to be better. But to be able to recognize that I can get so caught up in my feelings and I miss the perspective shift where God said, this is taking you to new depths. This is taking you higher than you could have ever imagined. I've got something prepared for you. Just hold on. But I don't even know what water looks like. I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm in a riverbed. There's not an ounce of water. I've been in this dry place for so long. He said, start digging. Start digging. Play the harp, and I'm gonna have you play the harp for me, but in doing so, I'm gonna feel the presence of God. Boom! Start digging, because you're not going to feel any wind, and you're not gonna see any rain, so you can be reactionary. I'm warning you now, start digging a trench. Start buckling down, saying, God, I don't see revival yet. I don't see the deliverance yet. I don't see the waters coming yet. It feels like years that I've been just in this dry riverbed, but I'm going to start digging, because I know when the blessings start being poured out, whenever the things start really coming down to fruition, I'm not going to be able to start scrambling and then preparing. But instead, if I start now and keep my head on swivel, if I keep my head in the game, and I recognize it doesn't matter what I see or what I feel, what I hear, or what I smell. God's got something moving. Those peacocks. I was listening to all these animals. I was annoyed just in the 30-second clip. But if we're responding to our senses, or if I'm responding based off of how I feel, you're not allowing me to feel free. I don't feel liberated. I don't feel. Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse number 9. What I feel in my heart, I love him with all my heart. You're 12. My heart is deceitful above all things, and it is extremely sick. I feel sick. Who can understand it fully and know its secret motives? In the other translation, it says, what does it say? Nothing can hide its evil as well as the human mind. Nothing can hide its evil as well as the human mind. It can be very sick, and no one really understands it. But I know what I feel. I feel claustrophobic in this ark. I feel that I'm taking care of these birds and the mockingbirds, and I'm taking care of all of these responsibilities, and I have to care for all of these. I have to clean up after all of these. I have to work at feeding the snakes. Where did the mamba go? Where's all the snakes? I don't think they had glass partitions for the snakes or the lizards. But either way, they had to feed them. And so I started thinking about, well, where's all the crickets? There's only supposed to be 2 crickets. Then I started thinking about, Lord, you had a plan. If we were to try to put our minds together and let's say there's going to be an ark experience and we were trying to get animals, we would have more questions than answers. The worms are going to be next to no, because they'll eat them. And then we got, God knows, and he put them all together. I don't remember seeing before where there were buffalo herders before they got into the ark. I didn't see where they had practice corralling kangaroos. I didn't know that they had experience in this. And God says, you know what? I'm going to equip you. I'm going to put into you the things you need to care for my animals. These are I'm giving you the responsibility to care for them. I hate these animals. We could do with one less mongoose. God also said in Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 12, it says, there is a way which seems right to a man and appears straight before him. You can figure it all out on your own. You can think you figured it out on your own. It said, but its end is the way of death. There's so many passages that support this idea that God knows more than me. Let God be true and every man a liar. In John 10:9, he said, I am the door. In John 14:6, he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He's also telling us to tear down things. He's telling us to build up things. He's telling us sometimes you may be spending more of your life building something that you haven't seen the benefit of yet. 100 years building a boat? I can't do 5 years of hardcore ministry without seeing the results that I expect. And God said, sometimes you just got to keep digging. Keep digging, because it's not even for you. Do you understand when the water came through into that dry riverbed, it fed them? If you eat water, they drank and their animals drank, but you realize that same water is what the enemy saw, and it caused them to be destroyed? No? Okay, I'll tell you. So here's what happened. The water came through and it filled all the trenches. And so then the enemy gets up. I'll just say the enemy is on this side. The enemy gets up and they look over this dry riverbed and they see these reflections in the water, and they're like, hey, it looks like something that it's not. So they're like, this is easy, piece of cake. It looks like they tried to kill themselves. There's blood everywhere. The water that God caused to fill your trenches. Hear me. The trenches that you are digging and feeling like, well, worst case scenario, God just gives me water. God's saying that's going to be the tool. So dig deep. Dig deep. The enemy ended up looking, and they saw the shimmering light, and they said, there's blood. So then they come down, and Israel's like, what are you doing here? And then wiped them out. God can use your sustenance, your blessing. He can use whatever it is, just as long as you're preparing. Keep preparing. You haven't seen it. You may not hear it. You may not smell it. But God says, start digging. Are you hearing what I hear? Do you hear what I hear? Where's this thunder? Where's this thunder and the clapping and the legs and then the wind? Can I hear all of this really quick? Let's go. Let's do it, people. You guys are an amazing storm. We got this going on. Do I hear captivity, or do I hear God lifting us higher? Can we stand in this room? God's wanting us to shift our perspectives. What do you hear? What is it you are listening to? Am I listening to what I can only feel, taste, touch, smell? Am I responding after my senses? And if so, I believe God wants us to take this moment to ask him just to forgive us. Forgive me for being so self-centered, to think that I can observe what you are doing, that I can pay attention enough to figure out what you're doing, God. God said, you have no idea what's coming. All I'm asking you to do right now is just start digging. Now is your warning. Now is the time for you to just keep working. I don't need to be prompted again. I don't need to hear the thunder and the lightning and to feel like I'm in captivity. Help me to hear deliverance. God, I don't want to wait until it's too late. But God, when I hear the thunder and the storms coming, God, let me recognize that it's you giving me another chance to have a more powerful testimony. When I hear thunder, God, don't let me start becoming a victim. But Jesus, help my mind to see it as you see. This is an opportunity. This is a privilege to be stuck inside of an ark, or to be placed inside of this safety. God, I want to be in your arms, no matter what's around me. God, doesn't matter what it seems like to me. Help me to see as you see. Forgive me, God. Forgive me for thinking I know what you're up to. Forgive me, Jesus, for acting out because I haven't seen it happen in my time. Forgive me, Father, because I know that everything that you do is good. Everything that you have laid out before me is not to destroy me. God, it's not your will that any should perish. God, it's not your will that we fall into the hands of the enemy and to be able to turn our backs on you. But Jesus, it is your will for some things to take place that would allow our eyes to be fixed on you. Lord, don't let me miss it. Lord, if my perspective has been off, I ask that you cleanse me right now of myself. Forgive me, Father. Cleanse me, Father. Because I don't want to just be a victim. God, I don't want to just sit by and feel justified being cooped up in this environment that's not conducive. But God, I thank you for allowing me to be in the boat.